Starting live stream. Okay. I just have to, you know, check and make sure that we got. Okay, yeah. Hey, we started. All right. Excellent connection. Hey, this is great. Okay, and I should be getting a notification just a second. All right, guys. That's too bad because I don't actually see the video, but it says we've got an excellent connection and we're live. Here we go. Here we go. I see it now live in your channel. Okay, great. Fantastic. I'm going to go to my channel and I'm going to watch it. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Hey, guys. All right. Let me just pause this. Okay. Live with the Pocket 3. Now I'm going to put my phone in the holder. Wish you guys could see this. This is pretty slick. I'm just going to make sure that I don't press the power button, you know, whenever I'm putting phones and clamps and stuff. This is great because I ordinarily do not like using my phone in vertical mode, portrait mode at all. But in this case, it makes a lot of sense to have the chat scrolling up, you know, and then have the video at the top. You know, when I'm watching live streams on YouTube, I'm going to do this because I got to turn a little bit. Oh, boy, move my foot. When I'm watching live streams on YouTube, right, I like to watch them in vertical mode. But the video is horizontal across top. So how's everyone doing? It's a beautiful, beautiful night here. It's a little bit humid, but it's a lot cooler than it was 2 days ago when I was out doing my little hike around, you know. Let me take my bag off. I'm at the laundromat here, guys. The famous laundromat. You see we've got our drink machine over here. It's actually, let me see, if I go this way, yeah, it's Japanese style drink machine. Pretty cool. Yeah, you've seen those in a lot of Dave's live streams. Now I have tonight, I have some 100% coconut water. I also have some garlic peanuts, you guys know me. And I have a little bit more of this coconut wine. I've been taking it easy. I think I've been hitting the sauce too hard, guys. So I'm trying to cut down a little bit. Now I'm going to be honest with you, one of the limiting factors about live streaming, this place got my lip balm, is my bladder. Because there's no restroom here. And that is, by anyone's standard, that is absolutely a limiting factor. When I'm live streaming at like the Thai barbecue place, right? I can go inside and use the can, and there's like dozens of people out there. And they wouldn't let anybody, not that anybody would, but they wouldn't let anybody touch my phone or my Pocket 3 or anything. So I can't believe, though, the complete transformation that I have made regarding the Pocket 3, because remember, a couple of months ago, I actually got a lot of, I mean, for me, a lot of views on that, because I actually said in one of my live streams that I wasn't using it, that the Pocket 3 is a disappointing camera for live streaming. Now I'm going to have to go back and do another one and take that back, redact it, recant it, whatever you want to call it. I'm using the Pocket 3 a lot now. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy using Prism Live Studio when I have to show something, you know, I'm showing movies, playing audio, or showing, you know, like a, you know, some kind of like some photos or something, you know, something that we did. But, you know, with the active track on this thing, and it actually, I'm going to record this too. It actually is, it's a better camera, I think, than the iPhone. At least I think it is. I'm not 100% certain, but for my purposes, it seems to work better for me. Now, interestingly enough, don't ask me why, because I really don't care about YouTube statistics or anything. I never try to, grow this channel as a business or anything. I'm doing have some projects planned for my studio channel, and I would like to grow that and actually integrate that with my studio business. There's great potential there with my experience, quite frankly, to do some nice studio content. But getting back to this channel, I have quite a few people, quite a large portion of people that watch my live streams and view my videos who aren't subscribed. Now, I never ask for subscriptions, but if you are one of those people and you regularly watch my content, please subscribe, because it might take me another 20 years, but eventually I'll get 1,000. Dave, fist bump. Good to see you, man. Thank you. But another interesting thing I found out was when I look at YouTube Studio on my mobile phone, it tells me that my audience is 100%. What's it, 55 to 64? I have nobody outside that age range. And on the desktop app too. The desktop app says that I have about 74% female viewers. Really? Now the mobile app says I have 100. As Dave pointed out today, he watches my live stream, so that's got to be wrong. Dave, how you doing? We're here with some of my coconut water. Have the coconut wine, and I'm just putting enough in there to taste it. Then adding some coconut water because I want to be hydrated. It's good for electrolytes and everything. Nice night here, not too unpleasant, but when I came up, the table's not clean and stuff, so I cleaned it off. I don't think the boss minds me using this place because every time I come here, I make a mess. I always clean it up. Just dropped a peanut shell. I'll get it later. There are a couple different kinds of this. Aqua Coco. These are all from Thailand. Buying this coconut product contributes to our pledge of planting 100,000 coconut trees every year. Oh, this is from the Philippines, actually. Oh, okay. Oh, there's two. I might say there's a couple. The last one I got from a jar is from Thailand. These are from the Philippines. And you know what? They taste different. All the coconuts taste different, and even sometimes bottle to bottle. And people swear by this one and that one, but they all taste good to me. And if I was, stuck on an island with nothing to drink, it would be a lot of work, man, to procure enough liquid to keep you going. But it'd be nice to be drinking that. All right, so I think we're still on. And we are. Fist bump Mike, how are you? Glad we could catch you. I think we're a little bit earlier than normal, huh? Because, I don't know. I'm just trying not to stay up. Every night I go, okay, I'm going to go to bed early. Early for me is midnight. So my watch tells me time to wind down, yeah. So I go upstairs at midnight and I hop in the shower. And sometimes you got to get the room right temperature and humidity and stuff. Sometimes I'll put my essential oil vaporizer thing on, you know. Might put some flannel, you know, pajamas on or something. So, oh, thanks, Mike. Hey, I really appreciate it. That was just a good walk around, and I thought, you know, that it'd be nice to do something where I wasn't talking. I just, you know, use text to tell some of the story, which I thought was better. But yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for hanging in there. I was out for about 3 hours, so that I think I cut some of it out, of course, but I had like about 50 minutes or so, 50 minutes or something. Content, just that one section. Before I go back to my other story, what I want to say was, when I was looking at the footage, right, of me standing there, I'm looking at the rail, talking, I turned around. I look absolutely huge. But I gotta tell you what part of it is. Yeah, I still have my gut, but I mean, I'm down to 115. Okay, that's really low for me, right? And that's as low as you guys have ever seen me. But that shirt I brought with me from the States. And it wasn't tucked in tight, it was billowy. I don't know if you noticed it, but if you look closely at the video, when I turn around, it looks like it's, you know, like it's, and it is. It's hanging off the sides. Yeah, it's blowing. But I also have my bag on. And I'm wearing my bag. Oh, just the way it sits, just, anyway, I was like, wow. And I debated whether I should put that in there because I look like a blimp. But I'm like, it is what it is. Yeah. Anyway. It's a beautiful place though. And I'm really, really looking forward to going back and exploring some other things. Now, Uncle Bud left a message. Everybody knows Uncle Bud. And he mentioned a railroad tunnel. And I'm not sure that I know about that. Uncle Bud is good at exploring stuff. He really likes. I think he's kind of like me in that respect. I'm kind of a map freak, and I like that. But I haven't really done a whole lot of exploration in that area. But Michael Turton took me on a number of years ago. I took my trike down to Taichung, put it on my car, rode down there, and we actually rode some bike trails that were made on railroads. Yeah, I took the rails out. The roads are all level, so they just basically paved them. But one of the bike trails goes right through a tunnel, and it's an old, like, hand blasted, you know, very rough hewn tunnel. And it's cool, and there's no lights in there, man. And it's something. I got my lights on my trike, you know. It's really cool. And hey, Dean, fist bump, good to see you. I mean, it's really cool, that tunnel is really something. So when you get to the point, you know, in the video, I mean, I'm sniffing, you know, a little bit, some dust and stuff. But there's a couple Easter eggs in there that I left, and you can hear my Apple Watch and Siri. Like, it'll go doo-doo-ding, and it's in my Apple Watch, my phone, and my Apple Watch Siri is set for Indian English. I just like it. So it's like, you know, exercise ring closed. Exercise ring closed. It's funny. I'm glad I said it. And the reason I did that, I don't know if I ever told you that. When I got this new iPhone and knew nothing about it coming from Android. And the watch, I must have watched 30 or 40 YouTube tutorials. Yes, they were really were well made. And yeah, let me get back to that in just a second. So I kept watching these videos on the iPhone and the watch. And outside of a couple, all the best ones are made by Indian guys talking with a Hindi accent. And so in honor of that, I just changed Siri to India. And it sounds so amazing to me, you know. Let me see if I can get, you know, what time is it?
It's 22:40.
Oh, I thought it was going to say something. What's the weather for tomorrow?
It doesn't look so nice tomorrow. Down to 21 degrees with thunderstorms.
That sounds cool to me. I like that. Mike, you know, that thing, right? In the video? Man, I want to go back there with some higher end recording gear and just record, excuse me, pardon me, I'm just burp, and record the ambience there. Not to walk away, because occasionally I'll go like, and I'll sniff or something. But in the video, in certain place in the video, you hear my watch go, doo-doo-doo, and it went, and that accent, exercise ring closed. And then another time it said move ring closed or something, but yeah, that was cool. Yeah, Dean likes that. So it's funny because I also have Google Maps set for Indian English, and it's a woman. But my phone Google Maps, I never bother to change it. I don't use my phone Google Maps that much because I'm in the car. My infotainment system is Android. But it's interesting how in English they'll say, you know, take a right and enter the ramp. You know, like you're going on the highway, right? Exit the ramp. In India, they call it a slip road. So the first time the woman said, make a right turn onto the slip road. And I'm like, onto the what? And I looked and said, oh, it took me a couple times to understand. So the first few times I used Google Maps with my Indian English guide, I missed a few turns because I didn't realize what they meant, but now I do. But I just view this as part of my international education. So anyway, but those, yeah, see, I wasn't sure if they were birds, Mike. I guess they must have been. But here's what happened. Off camera, when I first went there, I did a little bit of exploring for about 20 minutes or so and decided that I wanted to walk the trails. So I walked, when I turned back around and then went down the smooth section that had the tombs and then went across that road and the other way to the other side, I had walked from there to where that sign was, to where the opening of the video is, before I decided to do a video, because I didn't want to just, you know, do a video and then get there and go, well, this sucks. Even though the new firmware on the Pocket 3 is, while it's recording, if you press and hold the, you know, the button to turn it, the power button is a shutter button. If you press and hold the shutter button to end the video, you know, if you want to end the video, you just press it. But if you press and hold it, it ends the video and deletes it. So you can instantly delete it if you want to. But Once I got over there, I saw the tea groves. I heard the little, the beautiful sounds of the little birds. I was like, no, I want to record this. But what I had done off camera before, I was under a tree and I kept hearing that very rhythmic. I actually looked at it on the waveform. And one thing I did, guys, you can tell I'm not a video guy. When I edited the video, for the most part, when I cut the scenes together, I looked at the audio waveform because it would go like, right? What I tried to do was make the cuts so it preserved the timing for the most part. You'll see there's a couple scene changes where I'll be somewhere and it'll be like an instant cut, but the audio spacing is the same. I worked hard to get that, and it makes the transition a lot less abrupt. Because if it was going like that with a scene change, it would have been bad, but it just went scene change, so it was in time. But I was under a tree trying desperately. I didn't think it was a bug, but there are some pretty amazing bugs. Little tiny things that make these monstrous noises. Like the cicada in Thailand that sounds like a skill saw. I'm not kidding. But I actually tried yelling and making noise. Because a lot of times you'll be walking along and you'll be silent. And you've seen this, you've been in the woods and you're silent and you hear all this, beautiful, natural noise. And you make a sound, everything stops. I hate that. I'm like, sorry, disturb you guys. I couldn't make that thing change its rhythm for nothing. Totally like, not afraid of anything. So, go figure. I would like to find out what that is. I'd like to find a picture of the bird. But I do want to go back with some higher end recording equipment and just set up the mics, walk away, and record like an hour of that, because I'm thinking, even though it's a daytime sound, that might help me sleep. But getting back to trail riding, so before Phoenix was born, I would take the trike down in the car, and I would ride with Michael Turton down there. And we went to that place that had the railroad tunnel. And the rails are gone. They paved the road. Part of the bike trail. That's a lot of fun. I went through there, 2, 3, 4 times. I forget. With my lights on, great. Cicadas are loud. I have a video on my other YouTube channel, my really old YouTube channel, that got longer hair and a beard when my bush shot. I actually have a cigar. It's a long time ago. And I was with Ben, my Thai lawyer friend. And we kept hearing this thing. I'm going like, you hear that? And like looking at the camera going like, and it sounds like a skill saw. Crazy. There are a number of not abandoned, let's just say decommissioned railroad tunnels. And one day my wife just said, let's take a drive. I said, okay, let's take a drive. She looked this up. And the funny thing is, in Taiwan, anything can be a tourist attraction. I don't know if you guys have seen this red dot that's going around. But you know, you saw the big duck, right? And that was huge when Phoenix was a baby. And it came back 10 years later, the big duck, right? But now somebody just made a big red ball. It's art. And they put it somewhere. And thousands of people. There's a guy that did an art installation that toured around Taiwan. It didn't go to too many places, but it was huge. And I think he had, gosh, it must have been 300 or 500 little pandas that he had made. He'd cast them. They looked like they were cast out of plaster or something, and painted them. And he had like these little tiny square wood pallets. Had like 500 of these wood pallets set up in a field, and he would just put a panda on each one. I don't know how much they paid that guy, but anything in Taiwan can be a tourist attraction. And even an old Japanese era wooden train station, decommissioned. And I remember, I think one of my customers was here from the United States, and my wife heard about it. And we drove there, and it was literally like this. I mean, literally, I was bumped every centimeter. I was bumping people, standing on the platform, inside and stuff. And the other thing that's popular in Taiwan are stamps. You go to places, and Phoenix likes this too, but I kind of like it, because I carry a paper notebook, you know, moleskin when I travel, and you go to places and they'll have a stamp, you know. Now the Gautier, the Taiwan high-speed rail, used to have stamps for every station. And recently, well, I'm an old guy. When I say recently, it could have been 5 years ago. But within the recent past, I went to one of the stations and asked the lady, you guys still have those stamps? And they said no. Because when the high-speed rail first came out, you could get a little book of all the stations and get stamps on them, you know? That's cool. Little souvenirs. But one of the tourist attractions that my wife found, that she looked up, was what they call the mother and daughter tunnels. And one is bigger and one is smaller. And they were from the steam train era. I have tons of photographs, and if you'd like to see that, maybe I could do a show on Sunday night with some of those photos. I did also take some photos. I'm not sure if I got photos. See, with my trike, you know, I've got a nice little trunk on the back, right? And just to carry my Nikon DSLR, and I stopped to take pictures, but I don't think I took pictures in a tunnel. It's not like today we got these, you know, I mean, back then I had a, excuse me, pardon me, I had a GoPro that was like 420p, you know. I used it on my old YouTube channel. I had videos of me riding all up and down the trails along the West Coast with that camera. But I never upgraded that one because I didn't like the GoPro at all. And I had problems with the mounts. They actually had a bad batch of plastic, and all the mounting stuff that I had, the tabs broke. And the company had to send me new stuff. I'm like, wow, what's going on? So it's not like it is now, but it was the early days of GoPro. I had the Hero Wide, and I had a strap mount that I weaved through my bicycle helmet. It was good. That was cool. But you know, my trike has accessory arms on it, and the accessory arms, I can mount stuff on it. And so the stuff that I mount on it, you know, I mean, I can mount all kinds of accessories on those things. I can mount my GPS or a camera or whatever. That's what I did going forward. I didn't do so much of the helmet. And I remember one time, even during the periscope days, I actually put a 1/4 thread or a 1/4 bolt, and I screwed my gimbal on, put my mobile phone on, and went for a ride on periscope. But you know, technology as it was at that time, I wasn't on very long, and my scope aborted, and then a couple people that I knew that had yeah, exactly. A couple people were trying to get in contact with me because I was on a very dangerous road when my thing cut out, and they thought maybe I got hit. Well, the accessory bars are really interesting because, you know, the trike has a steering like this, and the wheels on the front, and there's a boss on the wheel arm. There's a tube that goes over it that mounts on it. So it's basically a tube that comes up, okay, and looking at it from my perspective, it comes up towards me, and then there's a T-bar on it, so like this, but it's offset. So basically what it gives you, Dave, is a round bar that you can clamp any kind of bicycle accessory on that would normally clamp on a round bar, on a handlebar, right? So all these millions of things, like, for example, if you look at my bicycle down here now, I've got a CNC machine handlebar mount for my iPhone. It's got a big screw on it that locks it down, things like a monster clamp, right? Yeah, I could grab my iPhone and pick the bike up with it. That would fit on there. Mirrors fit on there. Lights fit on there. And so I had the bicycle mount for actually both of my Garmin GPS handheld units. And having a standalone GPS unit that does not rely on the internet or mobile phone services, something you need. I also put an air horn on the bike, and that air horn saved me from a couple of dogs that were a little bit too curious about chasing a rabbit, and I wasn't sure what they're going to do. So basically, coming up, I've got 2 bars, and they're offset towards the inside, so the inside has clearance. So and they're, you know, they're fairly large, and I actually drilled a couple of them because it doesn't matter, and they're easy. You can just replace them if you drill a bunch of holes in it, Swiss cheese. But I drilled holes in so I could put bolts in things and bolt things on there. But you can hold stuff on with zip ties if you want, or like I said, anything that has, you know, a round mount. So I did have on the extremities, because it is offset, right? But there is a small pigtail on the outside, enough that I clamped a mirror on it. So my trike had mirrors on both sides, and then progressively inward, I had other things. On the front, I have the Bosch dual high-powered light. That thing is a monster, like a motorcycle light, okay? But what I did in addition to that was, on the traffic side, I put another small clamp light on, because when you're steering, those bars do move, right? And yep, I hear you. But I'm gonna put mine in a shop and get it all jazzed up, because this summer, so help me, probably naturally, because I'm a dad, after my daughter goes back to school, I want to take at least a week. I want to do a credit card tour. And I can get a trailer for it if I want to, but I would like to just get like a Hennessy Hennessy hammock. You know, of course, knowing me, I want my Dutch oven and stuff. Maybe I'm going to need the trailer, but I would like to go over like the Central Cross or the Northern Cross, but now that's all been wrecked. The earthquake, I'm going to have to wait a little while. But there are some places that are a little bit dangerous, but I definitely could ride my trike for a week. Actually, I could circumnavigate Taiwan in 10 days, maybe 14 days. At my age and my level of fitness, I'm going to need more time. But I could circumnavigate it. And here's the cool thing about Taiwan. If you sign up for this award, they will give you a GPS and you take it with you. And when you give it back to them, if they confirm that you actually circumnavigated Taiwan, you know, at bicycle speeds on bike trails, right? It's not like you just put it in the dashboard of your car and drove. They'll give you a certificate. That's pretty cool. I like things like that. But getting back to today's question, because of these accessory bars, when you turn the handle, you know, you turn the wheels on the front, right? Those things turn. I wanted to put a light on the traffic side that will kind of shine into traffic, you know, when I'm turning. Come to think of it, though, I actually had. I was trying to interest people in selling these lights. I found this company at the Taipei bike show a number of years ago and bought a couple of different models and several instances of one or two specific ones. So I bought multiple pieces of their bicycle lights, rechargeable. And I'm just going to tell you, just this past year, I've had this light on my bike. And you guys have seen it. Every video I've ever shot on my bike, it's that light. I bought that light before Phoenix was born. I'm going to say in 2008. And the first battery just died, like within the past year. I have a second light just like that. It's brand spanking new. It's still in the box. I just took the battery and put it on there. But what I should have done was put one of those each on those accessory arms, right? But I got the dual, and the dual is like, you can't look at it. And there's 3 power levels. On 35%, you know, you get a sunburn. On 100%, it's like, you can't even stand it, right? It's like a car. It's like a car headlight. That's on the front, and that doesn't move. Because at the very front of the bike, where the chain ring is, where you pedal, is an accessory arm. And it comes up and it's a T like this. You got stuff on both sides. And that's where I have that. That's where I have that thing. But I should put one of those other Bosch lights on the 2 accessories arms. And then the accessories arms, then those lights would steer. And they'll light up the road. Because one of the things I want to do on my little trip is I want to ride at night. Let me see what you're saying, Herman. You mean you're also wanting me to ride those trails in memory of the earthquake? Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Wouldn't be bad. My friend Andreas, you know, up in the mountain, right? Now you guys know this. Remember me talking about the earthquake in Yuli? Remember the bridge that fell? I was there in the summer. Excuse me, I was there. Yeah, no, I was there in the spring. Phoenix's spring break, we had filmed, you know, the flowers and stuff. I was up in the mountains at Andreas's place for a week. It was fantastic. And then 4 or 5 months later, I had the earthquake, and the bridge fell and everything. And I went back. Those of you who are in my late night group, and Mike, I mean, you know, you're welcome to join that if you want to. You're missing out a lot on a lot of stuff by not being in that group. But I posted pictures, you know, of the destruction. After that, to get up to the mountain, people had to make a big circuitous route around the back, and then they were just about ready. And I showed some pictures too of a hole. There was a section of the road where there's a big hole in it, and you could see down in the valley through this hole, but the retaining wall was there. Ugh, it's crazy. It's worse, but they can still ship out. But I got to tell you, the green farm, if you look up the green farm on Google Maps, Andres is doing some amazing stuff. He just came out, he's on Facebook too. Just came out, he put a post where he said he made a rum drink with his own rum that he made in his distillery. Now he gave me a taste last year of the prototype rum, and the prototype rum was off the charts. And what I mean by a prototype rum is when you are going to use a cask for maturation, right? The large cask, you have to leave it in there for years and years. But you know, if you want to test something out, you can't afford to put some rum in there and wait 5 years, see what happens. So you use a tiny cask, a small cask. And even though it may not initially make sense because the volume seems proportionate to the cask, the fact that it's wood, it's a much smaller volume, it has a greater effect. So in 3 months you can get an accelerated maturation and sort of kind of predict, you know, what a longer time period would be. And he made some rum with sugar cane that he grew in his land. And I was at his place, and it was like some of the best rum I've ever had, man. It's amazing. So now he has rum, and he has the first in Taiwan ever coffee liquor. Nobody's ever made coffee liquor in Taiwan. And you want to know the cool thing? It's made with Taiwan coffee. A lot of people don't know this. Taiwan tea, especially Taiwan oolong tea, we say that. Gaosan cha, high mountain tea, famous in Taiwan. Absolutely famous. But it just so happens that the conditions that are good for growing coffee are also awesome conditions for, excuse me, yeah, I blew that. The conditions for growing tea are also awesome conditions for growing coffee. You know what's really funny? Guys, remember, if you're from the States or from North America, or anywhere, I guess, English is spoken, I don't know. Folgers, coffee. Remember that? It's mountain grown. And they used to have a character, was it Mrs. Olson? And she had some kind of a foreign accent nobody knew. And they were like, oh, this Folgers is so good. And she would say, yes, it's mountain coffee. That's the richest kind. That's the only kind. Coffee only grows in mountains. Duh. Unbelievable. That's how dumb people are. Yeah, so Taiwan has tons of these mountains, and so it's the richest kind. Taiwan, it's a lot smaller. I mean, the industry, the coffee industry in Taiwan is a lot smaller than the tea industry, but it's still quite robust. And I've had quite a bit over the years of, and it's hard to get. I had some Alisan coffee recently. Fresh beans, put in my grinder. That coffee was so special, I actually foamed the milk for that one. When I get out the milk foamer, I got some good stuff. But man, oh man. So Andreas is making, I have another friend named Andreas is making Taiwan coffee liquor out of Taiwan coffee. So I'm going to be ordering 2 bottles of coffee liquor and 2 bottles of their rum for next month. And then you're going to see me do a review right here in this channel. What do you think? But you should order some of your own. They ship internationally. But Andreas is an absolute genius. He's working so hard. They're coming out with a new product like every week. He's done stuff nobody's ever done before. And that's how it is sometimes. Sometimes it takes a person who's not from the local area to move into a place to see the potential. And I see this all the time, especially with Chinese language. I was having a conversation with a woman today in Chinese, talking about like the hat, you know, the brim, how it protects your eyes. And she's like, yeah. And I said, it's like putting your hand over your eyes. She said, yeah. And I said, it's just like the Chinese word for look, which is kan. And she looked at me puzzled, because the Chinese word for look is made out of 2 words put together. It's compound, and it's the word for hand, and it's the word for eye. It's like the hand over the eye. So you go like this when you see. And you should have seen the look on her face. You know what? She's like, she says, I never thought of that. I've never found a Taiwanese person that did, because they just learn it. This is the word for kan, hands. They don't think about it. Okay. And so, yeah. So sometimes people from the outside can see potential. And so he came in, and they have these daylilies. And those of you who are in my line group, Mike, you know where the British got their tea from, don't you? Tea doesn't grow in England. You know that, right? Too far north. Yeah, it became the national drink of England, but it came from their Indian colony. So, wow, you're not going to hear me say this very often, but that comment, I mean, I couldn't believe what I was reading, and I actually forgot what I was going to say. Really? You mean like the video that I did with the just the walking on the trails? That wasn't so special, but I appreciate it. I actually did that in DaVinci Resolve. Mike, that comment just like, yeah, tea's from Asia. It's not to say that, you know, North American indigenous people, I mean, people have been boiling plants for essence, you know, since the Garden of Eden. But like I said in my video, the tea plant, the tea tree, right? That's all the same. The difference between like white tea, green tea, oolong tea, black tea, which is red tea in Chinese, that's how they say it. The difference is the fermentation or oxidation. That's the only difference. And in fact, legend has it, of course, depends who you ask. Taiwan says that oolong tea was discovered in Taiwan. People in China say it was discovered in like an area on the east of China, close to Taiwan. But the story is a guy was making green tea. Now, white tea has almost no processing at all, but green tea is, they say, the least processed, least, you know, oxidized or fermented. They say a guy was making a batch of green tea and he was called away on an emergency and just couldn't make it back. And he's not a black tea maker, and he doesn't really know how to carry the fermentation, you know, all the way to that level. Because, you know, the thing is that fermentation is tricky, that it can go bad, you know. So it was over fermented, but he could not afford the financial loss, so he processed the tea anyway. And people asked him, what the heck is this tea? And they didn't know what to call it. It was dark, so they just called it Dark Dragon, just to make, you know, sort of like oolong, that's what it means. Long is a Chinese word for dragon. So oolong is, you know, the Dark Dragon. And people loved it. That is the legend. But the interesting thing is, green tea is known for antioxidants and good stuff, you know, that's in it, which some of it is lost when you make black tea, but you have a higher flavor profile and other advantages from black tea. But the oolong is in the middle, and scientists say, at least from what I have read, and I have read a considerable amount about it, that oolong tea has all the advantages of both. And I absolutely love it. But getting back to what I was saying before, Mike's comment about tea is an England beverage. Yes, it's an English beverage because they got it from India. All right. All around that area where Andreas lives, and every spring they have a thing where people go up to see the daylilies, right? And they're beautiful. They're beautiful, kind of light orange flowers. And those of you in my late night group have seen those flowers. I posted some on Instagram and you've seen them. But he, as far as I know, is the only one that looked at that flower and said, could I ferment these and make a liquor out of it? And he did. And that liquor has won numerous awards, both in Taiwan and in competitions outside of Taiwan. But I'm going to tell you, between you and me, I don't care for the flavor of the daylilies, but I recognize that it is exceptionally handcrafted liquor, and each bottle is, you know, hand numbered. It's just amazing. Yes, which is interesting, Mike, because in all my years of living in the States, I never heard anyone address much about the aroma of tea. It's always about the flavor. And you know, flavor, and man, this, wow. Never had a peanut I couldn't crack before. This is crazy. This is like a, it's like a vault. So I was really surprised because, you know, I told you about the oolong tea having a higher, you know, flavor profile, but it's also very delicate. In Taiwan tea culture, we have a teacup called a wenxiang bei, excuse me, which we would translate in English as an aroma cup. Now, you know that wine glasses are tapered. And a good whiskey glass is not a rocks glass like this. A good whiskey glass is shaped like a bell, and it narrows because it concentrates the aroma, okay? The bouquet. And believe it or not, when I went to visit Patrick, um, I brought some aroma cups with me for tea because he didn't have any. When you pour the oolong tea into, hey Roxy, all right, hey, good to see you. Yeah. All right, fist bump. Yeah, thanks for checking in. Everything's okay. You know the earthquake shook us up bad. You know, my house did a dance I never knew it could do. I mean, whenever, you know, I wake up in the morning and I hear two things. I hear the presidential alert system go on my phone, and then my wife starts screaming. I know it's not gonna be a good morning, but yeah, everything's cool. Nobody we know was hurt, and the death toll is extremely low. Just really like the 9/21 earthquake killed thousands of people, and this one is, you know, it's the last I heard was 18. So really incredible. So thank you. But you pour the oolong tea from the pot into the pitcher, and you pour it into the aroma cup, and you put the teacup on top. And the kung fu is your guest grabs that with one hand and it's hot, and they go like this and they invert it, and they take the aroma cup out, and all the tea falls out into the cup because the volume of the aroma cup equals the teacup. So you don't have to worry about that. Then you put the teacup down because as the tea dries, you put the aroma cup down because as the tea dries on the inside of the aroma cup while you're drinking the tea from the teacup, the aroma in the aroma cup continues to develop. It gets more toastier and more aromatic, and oh, it's amazing. And with each infusion of the tea, you can really help detect, the aroma cup can help you detect the difference in the infusion. And most tea experts say, because this is Kung Fu tea, and Kung Fu just means high skill. It's Kung Fu. Kung Fu just means high skill. So Kung Fu cha, or as they say in Taiwan, Lao Reng cha, old people's tea, which is weird, because it's just an old tradition. You have a small teapot with a relatively large amount of tea leaves, so you can't let it steep for 10 minutes or 12 minutes or so like you can, you know, red tea, English tea. So you leave it somewhere between 1 minute and 3 minutes, depending on the size of the pot and all that stuff, you know. But seriously, you pour the hot water in, put the top on, and you watch, and your gut tells you, okay, now I got to get it out, and you put it into the pitcher through the filter, like quickly, very quickly, to end the infusion. That is the secret. That's the Kung Fu, okay, is knowing when. And so people tell me, and from my personal experience, because I have a tremendous amount of experience with oolong tea, and you know, making it at home, I have all the stuff, and the hand-carved wooden tea tray and all that stuff. It's the third infusion that's the best. And the first infusion, I mean, it's all good. It's good. But what it is the tea leaves don't fully unravel until the third infusion. So yeah, interesting how we started talking about tea. So worth knowing. But the same people who who drink tea from a teacup, a standard teacup with a handle, would not drink wine out of a glass like this. They have to drink it out of a wine glass because it's concentrated. And like, you know, at home, I have, I'm not even sure where I got them. I've got a number of so-called, you know, whiskey glasses, but I have 2 proper whiskey glasses. Only 2. They're shaped like a bell. And when I treat myself to a bottle of really high quality single malt scotch, that's the only glass that I will drink it out of. And it's a nosing glass. Like this one has a curve, but it goes out. It doesn't, it doesn't go the other way. This is not a nosing glass, but what I'm drinking isn't aromatic anyway. I'm just drinking coconut wine, jazzed with coconut water. So Roxy, what's been going on? What's going on with you, babe? Everything cool? Good to see you. Looking at my old streams, which I don't do that often, but sometimes I do because I like to see what I was talking about back then. People come, people go, Remember Fitness Lily? Remember you guys? The Fitness Lily? And Toshi Lau? Haven't seen them for a long time. But I'll tell you, there's one person who is conspicuously absent tonight, and that's Matthew. Matthew, throughout my entire streaming career, has been, I'd say, it's a toss-up. Alongside Dave, I'd say that those two have been the most consistent, supporters of mine from way back, and I can always count on either one or both usually to come into my live streams no matter what I'm doing. Unfortunately though, more recently for me, due to commitments that I have, most of the time I've been watching Dave's streams on replay. I hate that. But he'll often stream on, Saturday morning, which is, that's fine, is what you do. It's got time off. And it's a good time for, North America, but that's also like family time for me, so. So Mike, question is, you still have your trike, and A, is there anything stopping you from riding it? And if no, then B, can you ride it and post a video? I know you use Facebook. That'd be cool. Well, thank you. Thanks, Mike. Really? Well, you're talking to somebody that knows how much work it is, because I'm not sure if you know, but I during some of the pandemic era, I was contacted by a guy in the States, and he actually mixed a 10-song album for him. But I've been recording furiously in my studio, but I haven't actually finished anything because I was on schedule to do some releases starting in January. I had the first quarter of 2024 all completely planned out. Excuse me. And I'll tell you what, but I'm very glad to hear that. And what I'd like for you to do is please let me know where I can hear your stuff, okay? I'd love to hear it because I'll sit at my mixing position with the room correction and the Atom monitors, and I'd love to hear what you're doing. But I haven't seen you for a while, but my heart palpitations, my premature ventricular contractions got to like a chronic point. I was functionally disabled. I didn't even live stream because, I was just so uncomfortable. Like right now, I don't feel anything. I found the cause and I was able to virtually eliminate it. And if they come back, they come back very lightly. It's not a big deal. I take medication and I actually can do some exercises to reduce it or completely eliminate it. So, but that killed me. That threw me off schedule. But the good news is, in Cincy City, and plus the other thing too, is I'm looking for a room because I want to move out of the house. I need a live room. I actually have an inline recording console from the 90s. It's analog, and I want to put that in the Dante network and do session work. You know, in addition to the digital console, which I use, you know, with automation for mixing. But the thing is there's a new studio that I went and saw this past week, and there's a young man. He gave me a lot of hope for young people. He's a really good recording engineer, and they bought 3 movie theaters. 2 of them they're using for live performance venues, and the third one they saved because it's narrower, but it has a higher ceiling. It's 7 meters and it's stepped. They're going to put a full control room in there, and he's going to be able to do strings. That's the first thing I said. You'll be able to do strings in there, right? And he said, that's what I do. This guy does orchestration. I'm like, come on, man. I love movie orchestration. I've been doing a lot of soundtrack orchestration lately, doing MIDI, you know, with keyboards, Spitfire, BBC, and, you know, the whole thing, Native Instruments, all of it, man. So what I'm going to do is, because it's a pain in the neck for me to sing, if I want to do a session late at night, you can still sort of kind of hear it outside the studio. I mean, you're talking like 3, 4 a.m. There isn't a sound anywhere. You know what I'm talking about. It might be 70 dB down, but you can hear it. I want to go to a studio where I'm not pressing the buttons, I'm not watching the meters. I just want to stand in front of a mic, and this guy has a U48, which is one of my favorite mics. He's got C414s and 67s. He's got an M48. It's vintage stuff. So I want to stand in front of one of those vintage mics and have somebody else do the engineering where I don't have to worry about it. And just, all right, let's take it from the second verse. Don't keep any of that. And I mean, like I used to do. And then all those takes, you can give them to me. Just render them out. And I'll take them back in my studio. And I'll comp them. And then add my magical 80s effects touch to it. Man, you should see my vocal chain. It's like this long. Amazing. What's my assessment of 2024 music? I haven't heard any 2024 music, so I wouldn't know. I do not listen to music. I am not a music consumer. I don't go looking for it. I couldn't name you a single band or a single record that came out in 2024. Which is odd because that makes me sound like an old fart. But in reality, what it makes me sound like is someone who was 30 years old in 1986. The era of the greatest music that ever existed. And by 1986, I was already an accomplished producer. I'd done hundreds of sessions, and I was in the magazines in Boston every week. Who you working with this week? Who you working with next week? That's what it is. I listened to some new music by happenstance. And it's extremely disappointing. Because people are lazy. See, nowadays, right? One thing I realized, and I don't know why it took me so long to realize it, but I was watching some YouTube tutorials of how these young guys work. Nobody presses record and plays the damn song all the way through. They play the first 4 bars and go, oh, that's great. And then they loop it. I'm like, God, oh my God, it's disco again. You know what they used to do? Because nobody could actually play, you know, disco music has a specific beat. And we're talking, you know, the 70s, it's analog tape. So they would have, the engineer would have the drummer do the kick drum. Like this. Only the kick drum on a 2-track. And then they would meticulously listen, and they would mark it with a grease pencil on the tape, and they would find 4 drum beats that were equidistant, and then they would make a loop and they would play that. You'd play that back on the 2-track just on a tape loop, and that would be the basis for the record. So, you know, like Donna Summer, Hot Stuff, take 1. They press the 2-track, and then the drummer would come in, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be it, right? And that's the only way that they could get a consistent click track and a time base that didn't shift. It's not like today we can tempo map everything on a DAW, right? So these guys will go like dun 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 dun. Oh, that's it. That's great. Copy, Control C, boom, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Oh, okay. That's my verse. Glue it all together. They didn't play it. They played one part of it, right? And so then they played the, if we're lucky, we might get like, you know, a separate guitar on either side. Nobody's doing that. I'm doing that. They do the same thing. So psychologically, you're not hearing all the way through the song. You're not hearing the minute micro shifts and micro timings that tell you it's a real performance. Sounds like a computer. And so, yeah. But Mando pop, I mean, my favorite genre of music is Thai. Thai pop and Thai folk music. And if it wasn't for the fact that, of course, I guess I shouldn't care because I'm not monetized anyway. It's just, I hate these copyright claims, you know? I'll go to a place and I try to promote their music and they just, anyway. They do sessions the old-fashioned way. They actually play their instruments quite well. And they sing. And I'm not detecting any auto-tune on those records, and they're really simple. Some of these records I hear, sounds to me like they cut a whole album in one afternoon, which wasn't all that uncommon in the old days, with people who could really play and people who could really sing. And bands, you know, it's not unusual for a band who's really tight to come in and just be able to do like 1 or 2 takes. We're talking like 15 or 20 minutes per song, okay? And so you multiply that by 10, it's not that really that much time. And you get to do the vocals, I mean, you know, if you know what you're doing. But I'm a solo artist. And I also have been playing around with my guitars too. I spent a great deal of time recently, like my 1958 Epiphone Carina Wood Flying V reissue. I did a fret leveling job on it. Oh. I still owe you guys a live stream of that thing, that guitar. You know what I'll do? I'll wear my Clint Eastwood hat and my fistful of dollars poncho for that. But I owe you a live stream from that for that. So thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Love you too. I grew up in the greatest era of music, and it's hard. It just makes me sound like an old fart. And you know, there's even a scripture that admonishes us not to be longing for the days of old. And I try not to do that. But I mean, okay, key of C, right? Who writes stuff like this? Coming on a wave she came, staring as she called my name. Now I can't get it out of my head. How simple is that? Who's writing stuff like that? The influence of rap and hip hop is so prolific that, I mean, You can't watch a YouTube video that uses stock music because it's all dum 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 dum. It's crazy stuff. Like dun da 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 da. It's like, how come that's the default? When's the last time you saw like a drone video with a kick-ass rock music bed? This many times, right? Never. That's why I like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's hip hop and rap. I just think it's, yeah, I am. And I'm your old fart. Exactly, thank you. It's just that the integration is too deep. It's too easy. I mean, it's about beats and, quite frankly, not singing. All right, I'm gonna do a live stream for you guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my little karaoke mic, which is great. It'll be this. I'm gonna do a live stream that'll be so unbelievably Taiwanese. It'll just. I'm gonna have a stand. Hold my karaoke mic. I'll position it so I will. I'm glad that you think it's the elixir of life, because it's been music to me is a business, and it's been very bad to me. I lost millions of dollars, in music. I'll position my karaoke mic. I use my other device. I will make sure that the audio is perfect. I owe you guys a music live stream, okay? Maybe with my double neck, 6 and 12, Jimmy Page style or something. Who knows? Or maybe the SG, the Rickenbacker 12. I don't know. I have to figure out what I'm going to do. Out in the park, maybe. Got to carry all this stuff out there. Maybe I'll just bring the double neck, because it can do 6 and 12 stuff. But I'll do a live stream, some of those tunes, and copyright strikes, I don't care. The only thing I don't like is, if they want to monetize and get the money off it, I don't care. What I don't like is when they block it. So, like, because you play a 4-minute song, I have an hour-and-a-half video that can't be viewed in the United States. That would just infuriate me. And I would, of course, remove it from the video. But we'll see what happens. I owe you guys one of those. And I'll do it. I'll do it soon. I'll do it sometime. Let's say before the end of May. How about that? And if you got a couple of requests, you can forward them to me. But that song, like I just sang a little bit from, you listen to that and the strings that are in it, the arrangement. It's designed to evoke an emotional state that promotes peace and well-being. Whereas a lot of the music just promotes chaos or conflict. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I can't take credit for that. That's DNA. Right now my voice is kind of crap. I actually had an accident yesterday. I'll tell you about it. Let me say this before I tell you what happened. Let me preface this by saying that when anything like this happens to you, the most important thing that you can do is not panic. Panic kills. calmness saves. You guys know I take about 35 supplements a day. One of the supplements I take is apple cider vinegar. Now, apple cider vinegar is primarily taken by people my age because it's known for regulating blood sugars. But the other thing that I take it for is because as you get older, you produce less stomach acid, and I take it apple cider vinegar with water, not straight up. Anybody who drinks apple cider vinegar straight up is a macho idiot. Your teeth will destroy. But I mix it with water, and it actually adds to the stomach acid and helps you digest foods. If you have a problem with burping a lot when you eat, or if you feel bloated, like if you eat a large meal with a lot of protein, let's say you go out for a steak dinner, and 5 hours later you feel like, wow, my stomach is just still packed, you're probably not digesting it. And the problem is the material in your gut, it basically putrefies. So I take apple cider vinegar to help with digestion, and it helps a tremendous amount. So yesterday I took my 35 something supplements, and I was drinking apple cider vinegar with water, and I was standing by the sink upright, and as I was drinking out of basically a beer stein is what I put it in, right? And this has only happened one time before, but when the apple cider vinegar hit my stomach and the condition of the acid that was there, it caused a massive reaction that made gas shoot up my esophagus. And unfortunately, it took a lot of the stomach acid and the apple cider vinegar with it, and it burned my esophagus coming up. And here's the hit. I wasn't expecting it, and it came up in such a way that it triggered, there's a reflex, I can't think of the name of it. There's a reflex that prevents you from inhaling water, okay? And if that reflex gets triggered, you can't breathe because the flap shuts, Jack, and that's it. And it started to happen, and I found that I couldn't breathe. But I just stood over the sink. I was in the kitchen sink, fortunately, and I just spit this stuff out, and I just spit it out, and I tried to take small breaths, you know, to keep from dying or passing out. And that's the other thing, just keep cool. I knew what it was that was happening, and I just didn't let it frighten me and get to my head and freak out. I figured I probably wasn't going to die. I figured I probably wasn't going to inhale any of the liquid because the body is pretty good about, you know, stopping that. But I just had to kind of just get through it. And so what I did was I grabbed the edge of the sink just to make sure I would steady myself in case I got lightheaded. And I was surprised at how much stuff I actually spit up. It's just liquid, you know. And then, but I noticed that my throat was burning bad. And I felt kind of a burning in my bronchial tubes. But I knew I hadn't inhaled anything, which makes a difference. If you actually inhale water, you know, you better go to the emergency room because you could die. But I knew I hadn't inhaled anything, but I coughed quite a bit. All day yesterday, into last night, my voice was very hoarse. And it turns out that if you have GERD and acid reflux, while you're laying down at night, the acid can come up and it can burn your larynx, which is weird because the larynx is in the pipe side, not the esophageal side. So it means it can come up into the windpipe side. There's a YouTube channel I follow because I use the Affinity, like Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer family of programs. And there's a YouTube channel called Affinity Revolution. There's a husband and wife, and husband's name is Ezra and the wife's name is Allie. And Allie had to completely take over the channel because Ezra's voice got destroyed from acid reflux. The man's like 30 some years old. He can't talk anymore. That's terrible. So I have kind of a fear of that. But anyway, today I'm back to normal. Thank you. And I am a trained singer, trained in rock and trained, believe it or not, in opera. And of course, as you know, Mike, I was a national talk show host, and yeah, so when I talk to you guys, I don't use, the real FM kind of sound. Why would I do that? Although it might be fun sometime. Please join me for Late Night with MJ Klein. Who knows? Maybe if I did a channel where I only talk like a top 40 AM jock. I don't have time for that. Coming on the way she came. What a great song. So I should do that, right? I should do that on the 12 string. Can't get it out of my head. Not to be confused with the later version na, 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 of a completely different tune with a similar title. So, if you can think of some other songs that might be worthwhile for a music live stream. Let me do this now while we're talking. Oh. This is the neighborhood I'm in. I have the black mist filter. Looks amazing on those highlights. Let's go around here. Some businesses across the street and some residences. I got to clean up all these peanut shells before I leave. And of course that is the drink machine, and I'm right over here again. So we'll turn it back around. Face track enable, there you go. But this is an actual, laundromat, and nobody has said a single thing to me tonight about being here, which is great. Haven't had to explain anything, but I never have. I sat inside before, and I did a live stream probably the second time I was here, where I had my other man bag that was kind of dirty, and I washed it. Can't wash his hat though. But all right, how long have we been on? Been on quite a bit, huh? I think I'm gonna have to say good evening and chill out for a few minutes, clean up this stuff, go back to the house, take a nice relaxing shower. See, in Asia we shower in the evening. You guys know that, right? We shower at night because it keeps the bed clean. And it's a nice, helpful way to end the day, get all the dirt off of you, go to bed clean. Then you don't have to spend time taking a shower in the morning the next day. A lot of men in Asia shave at night because it's still close enough to go to the office the next day. And there's a reason they call it a 5 o'clock shadow, because every man, no matter what, by the end of the day, needs to shave again. Okay. Well, thank you. I hope I'm top notch, but you know what I can do? You know what we haven't done for a long time, Mike? We haven't done a live stream from a karaoke room. Remember those days? I had a gimbal and a microphone, and I would, oh, that was crazy. I can bring my guitar into one of those karaoke rooms. In fact, I can rent one of Win-Win's rooms, and I can do a live stream from there. And that is well, I can get internet. Let me think about that, okay? We'll figure it out. We'll do something. I'll use my karaoke mic like at the park or some cool place. I'll figure something out. One of the things I want to do with you guys is I want to watch a movie behind my house with my projector onto the wall, back wall of my house, or on the roof on a big screen. I want to watch a public domain movie on YouTube, you know, and just talk about it, like, you know, Earth versus flying saucers or something like that, and just hang out. That'd be cool. With our adult beverage and maybe a barbecue. I don't know. Just have to see. But that'd be cool. All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say good evening. I'm going to call this a stream. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks, Dave, Dean, Mike, Roxy. So glad to see all of you. And thanks for hanging in there, Mike. It's a nice night, not too hot. I'm just going to finish up here. You know, I'm going to clean up. Don't worry, when I leave, everything will be pristine. But everything will be back to normal. Thank you. Shaving used to suck, and then I found the Panasonic Arc 5, and now they make the Arc 6. It'll change your life. It's worth the money. Don't get the cleaning station. Just get the wet dry without the cleaning station. Thank me later. Thank me later. If you take a little shaving gel or shaving cream with that Panasonic Arc 5 or Arc 6, you just won't believe it. So, hey, thanks, Roxy. I appreciate it. Well, not because you came back, but yeah. Thanks so much. And get in contact with me, okay? You can find me at my username. You guys don't know what my username is, and no space, and at Gmail. So there you go. You guys take care. Now I got to flip over to the YouTube studio so I can actually end the stream. All right, so you guys take care, and thank you so much for joining. And we will, well, more than likely, I'll see you guys on Sunday night. All right, and I'm going to work on a music live stream. I got to bring this up a little bit. So make sure that nobody else is. There you go. Yeah, I appreciate those hearts. That's cool. Yeah, I'm going to work on an idea for a music live stream, and probably use the double neck. You know, the 12 on the top and the 6 on the bottom, because they don't have to carry a bunch of different guitars. So you guys take care, and remember, I love all you guys like so much, more than you know. Thank you so much for your support, your love, your kindness. And I want you to have a good day or afternoon or morning, wherever you are in the world. And Matthew, sorry we missed you. And Coco, sorry we missed you too. You guys take care. See you next time. I'm going to press the end of the live stream now. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yes.